Welcome everybody to Straight Shooter Wrestling Podcast. I'm one half of your host, Santi, here with my other half, Steve. How you doing?
Oh, what's going on, Santi? Hope you had a good week. I am feeling good and very excited for today's podcast.
You know what? We just finished watching AEW Dynamite, and had it not been for that episode of professional wrestling, I think we would have been hard pressed to really even have an hour worth of content, because aside from AEW, which literally just finished airing half an hour ago, there's not been much going on with the exception of Goldberg coming back and all of the Shane McMahon stuff that we'd already talked about. So I'm glad that we have at the very least some fresh and exciting content to dissect.
Yeah, honestly, like the last week in WWE has been pretty disappointing all the way around. Goldberg, for those of you who don't know who we're referencing, and if you don't know who that is, I'm sorry that you fell onto this channel.
The man that almost literally killed The Undertaker.
Yeah, literally. Oh.
All right, before we jump into some wrestling stuff, quick bit of housekeeping. If you are watching on the YouTube, thank you very much. Just double check that you're subscribed to the channel. And if you're coming over from the TikTok, thank you very much. The TikTok over there, at Straight Shoot is now over 100,000 strong. I think the last time that we recorded, we were at like 30,000. So it's kind of wild that the TikTok has blown up the way that it has. So thank you to everybody that has been enjoying the TikToks over there and has made their way over to the YouTube channel, which is now about to cross 500 subscribers. We are just a stone's throw away to the halfway mark to 1,000, Steve.
Yeah, I also personally want to say thank you to everyone who's made the TikTok an absolutely incredible success. And like I said on the last episode, as a joke between two guys that have been doing this for 2 years, throwing a couple of videos up and you guys actually finding us entertaining. Wow, thank you.
Yeah, can I tell a story?
Yes, you can.
I'm going to tell the interview story. It wasn't really an interview, and I'll leave names out and perhaps he's watching, but I was having a virtual coffee with somebody in the space that I work in, and we were just trying to see, you know, if we vibe together, see if it maybe makes sense later on down the line doing, you know, an interview for him to come and potentially work for the company. And the coffee conversation starts with, "Hey, are you the guy from Straight Shoot?" And it blew my absolute mind that, one, he knew about Straight Shoot, and two, that he brought it up. It's wild that there's even, you know, a hint of recognition from the TikTok. It's just kind of crazy. I'm still kind of just waiting to be recognized at a grocery store from the TikToks. I think that would be the apex. That would be the peak, Steve. If I get recognized at a grocery store for Guess the Wrestler over on TikTok.
Oh, dude, like we officially made Z-list status as celebrities. It's awesome. Let's go.
Yeah, we're going to start a Cameo and charge 50 cents per video.
Well, you could charge 50 cents. I'm going for that full $1.
Oh, he's going for the full dollar. Canadian full or dollar. US?
USD, bro. Our money ain't worth anything.
Dude, this man is greedy. All right. Yeah, so I wanted to share that because I thought that was pretty cool. But Steve, I have a box next to me, and yes, I was told specifically to not open this box until the podcast started. So what am what is in here?
So I, guys, got very excited. And I knew we were going to cross 100,000, and we're at about 100. We'll be at about 120 by the time this episode airs. And so I got a little overzealous and decided to gift Santi something to say thank you for being like my co-partner on this and helping make this a success. And I just wanted to see Santi in our terms pop.
All right.
And Santi, please feel free to open the box.
All right.
And then there's going to be something further for our fans.
Okay. All right. Wait, is there something for our fans in here as well?
Nope.
That's on your end.
I have it on my end.
Okay, you have it on your end. All right. So this is as blind reaction as it gets. So let's see what we've got here. This is quality audio content, folks. Good thing that we're only on YouTube and not on Spotify yet, because this would be terrible content for audio only listeners.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's see here. All right. Okay, so do we have ourselves a commemorative? Oh, this is a belt. This is a belt. All right, let's crack this.
Just rip the plastic, man. Just do it.
All right, well, what belt is it?
It says it on the front.
Does it?
Yeah.
Oh, it does. The United States commemorative belt. Okay. I hope you got me the OG US title, not the current one. The one from the 2000s.
It's from 2015.
Oh, that's the OG. Let's see. Oh, dude. Dude, hell yeah. Oh, I gotta get this.
I wonder if he'll notice.
Let's go. And
Did he notice?
It says straight shoot right there. Let's see if we can get it for our viewers. It says straight shoot as the champion. Dude, this is wicked. Thank you.
So, 1 second. Hey.
Oh, matching belts. Let's go. Acknowledge us, baby. Acknowledge us.
Congratulations, Santi, on 100,000 subscribers. And I know we're going to run this until the wheels fall off. So I think maybe at maybe 1 million, we get actual like world titles.
Maybe. But, yeah, we haven't earned the world title yet, but I'm still going to hold this like Goldie.
Oh, dude. So there's the congratulatory, there's the surprise, and I just want to say thank you again to everyone who has really supported us early on. And I haven't even gone over this with Santi right now, but he's going to agree with me. So we're going to actually, if Santi can just look over, we have one more commemorative not Universal, United States Championship, and on the inside, you can hear it. It's on the inside. It is exactly the same as what Santi and I have, and we are going to give this one away. So, the rules on this, we are going to give this away at WrestleMania on our post or pre-WrestleMania episode. Rules of getting in, and we will post them in the description below. You must follow us on the YouTube, and you must comment on this video specifically and tag 3 of your friends. It's going to be a randomized generated draw, no BS, but we will have this sent out to you hopefully the week of WrestleMania. So, Santi, I'm sure you agree with that.
I'm hearing it for the first time, but I'm on board.
So, for everyone who supports it, there will be a video posted on TikTok about our giveaway as well. But all you have to do, follow Straight Shoot and comment on this video, and you can be entered to win a Replica United States Straight Shoot title.
To clarify, this is not the hunk of junk plastic from like Walmart that you would get a child. This is like, for our listeners, this is steel. All right,
right here. It's badged at the back, everything.
Yeah, this is legit. This is a very legit belt, and we're very excited to be able to give this away to one of our listeners. Dude, that's wild that we're in a position to be able to have an audience, to be able to give away something so cool to. So thank you for putting in the work with me in Straight Shoot and dealing with all the John Cena, Steve. Oh my God, here's to the next 100K. All right, but let's jump into actual podcast stuff.
Actually, that looks really good there.
Yeah, I unfortunately my mic is in the way, so it doesn't look as good, but I'll find a place to put it. Let's talk wrestling, Steve. There's a couple of ways that we can go about this. We can talk about and we can maybe perhaps start with whatever is going on with WWE. I don't want to touch the Shane McMahon topic anymore. We've already pretty much dissected it. We do have the rematch recreation of WrestleMania 36 that we never got, of Goldberg versus Roman Reigns, that we were originally supposed to get at WrestleMania 36, which Roman Reigns backed out of because of the COVID pandemic scare, of course, with him having been somebody who fought leukemia at the time. No one knew really like how devastating COVID could be, and for those with lower immune systems like Roman Reigns, so I can understand why he backed out. But we're finally getting the match that I don't want to say that we were all waiting for, because I don't know if we were, but it's definitely the match that's 2 years in the making at the very least, I can say. Are you at all excited about this?
No. Honestly, I think Goldberg had 1 or 2 matches left on his contract.
This is his last one.
Yeah,
we got to talk about this. This is his last one. He signed. It's weird. He signed until about October, but he only has X amount of matches on his contract. So it's whichever comes first, either the end of the amount of matches or the end of the contract. And this is his last match on his contract.
Yeah, so being that it's Saudi Arabia, it's obviously going to be the biggest payday for him. I think we are going to see Roman carry this match. Arguably, it's going to be spear versus spear. I'm going to call it right now. Entrances happen. Goldberg goes for the spear, hits Roman, 2 count. It's going to be, this doesn't go more than 10, 15 minutes. And if it does, I'll be surprised. But it's going to be one of those matches where you're just like, great, that happened. Let's move on. And let's now get onto the road to WrestleMania for Roman Reigns and the ones in the Usos. So I just, oh man, it was, like nostalgia wise, like when a wrestler comes out and you're like, oh yeah, like that was a good pop. Like that was not a good pop. That was not a good pop.
So Steve, I want to paint you a picture and take you back in time.
Okay.
I believe it was Crown Jewel, either late 2019 or early 2020. I can't quite remember. And we had, it was late 2019. And we had Goldberg going in to challenge for the Universal title versus The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. And everyone and their mother knew that The Fiend is winning this. The hottest thing in the business at the time. Yep. The Fiend going
undefeated.
up against
undefeated as The Fiend,
going into a glorified house show at the time, with it being in Saudi Arabia. I understand the Saudi Arabia show's a little bit better these times, but back then they were glorified house show WrestleMania wannabes.
Yep.
No one anticipated Goldberg would win. I feel like if you could put Vegas odds, I think it was 500-1 in favor of the Fiend.
Yep.
And somehow, some way, WWE Creative thought it was a good idea to bury the Fiend and put the title on Goldberg. Is it crazy? Is it unfathomable to think that the same thing could happen here?
Okay, so Vince. Vince has all his money. I'll just say no. I'll say no first.
Okay.
Because Vince has all his money and all his chips pushed in on Roman Reigns. Okay? 500 and God knows what days he's at now. I think he's at over 520 now. And like we've said, like he could have this massive run. He did say he's in God mode right now, and it's proof. But if WWE, then again, the Rumble was pretty bad, so you never know what kind of creative they're going to come up with next. If WWE decide to put Goldberg over on Roman in Saudi Arabia and then do some like short switch where Goldberg then, drops the title before Mania, or they do a Brock versus Goldberg at Mania, I will probably turn Mania off when that match happens.
Yeah, I think I might get an AEW tattoo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it would be so insulting if Roman Reigns loses the title to Goldberg. Like, look, the best Goldberg match since he's been back is the one with Dolph Ziggler that was 30 seconds of him just destroying Dolph Ziggler because it was funny. Yeah. And it was Goldberg going out, destroying somebody. Cool. That's it. If you look at Goldberg's I want to take that back. I think that the Survivor Series shock where he beat Brock Lesnar in 2 minutes was also shocking enough at the time where I still think of it fondly as like a very interesting swerve. And the WrestleMania match was a 5-minute finisher fest, which is what we needed.
Yeah.
Goldberg has not really put in the sweat equity, as I like to call it, to be in these sort of positions. His matches have been mediocre.
Well, like you said, he almost killed the Undertaker.
Literally almost killed the dead man. Somebody who is such a fantastically safe worker.
Yeah.
Being put in the hands of somebody who can't even do a vertical suplex and almost killed the man.
Yeah.
This would be atrocious. This would be bad for business if Goldberg wins in Saudi Arabia. But those Saudi sheiks and the Saudi money, they love the nostalgia. They seem to love the nostalgic pops more than the pops for the new blood. Could they buy a Goldberg win?
They've already had it, though. They've already had it. Fair. They've already seen it. So why not get the hottest thing in the business? And I'm talking like AEW is doing some good stuff, and we'll get into that, what we saw tonight for Dynamite, because this was probably the best Dynamite since CM Punk coming out, or Adam Cole and Daniel Bryan, or Bryan
CM
Danielson,
Punk was Rampage, just to clarify.
Was it Rampage? My bad. But they've seen it. So why put Goldberg over for something that, like you said, could be a 1,000-day run?
Yeah, I love that I've reeled you in, Steve. You're in for that Bruno Sammartino run now, aren't you? You want it, baby. Just admit it. Just let it. Just admit it.
Hold on.
Just admit it.
I would love the run to Mania, and my dream match at Mania is Seth Roman for unified titles.
You're not getting it.
I know I'm not getting it.
You're not getting it.
But I would love Seth Rollins walking in with the world title and Roman with the Universal, and just go like Becky 2 belts.
Okay.
Merge the title.
Let's talk about that real quick. So we can transition and talk up, because it's been the talk of the town, right? Like, are we going to get a unification match at WrestleMania? And there's more. In terms of pros, there's lots, because I think that there's a lot of storytelling that could be told there. In terms of cons, all of the cons are financial, right? Like, unless the champion is willing to work both Raw and SmackDown, this isn't going to happen, because NBC is not going to want to share the champion with with Fox. Yeah. And just to clarify, USA is owned by NBC. That's why I'm saying NBC. Yeah. And vice versa. They both want a top guy. Mm-hmm. This 2-belt unification thing financially, with these billion-dollar behemoths and billions of dollars worth of contracts and TV deals, doesn't work.
Yep.
It doesn't work.
I get where you're coming from, but we're also seeing, this is something I was reading the other day. WWE has made so many releases over the last year, so it's gone down to budget. Are they willing to pay a top guy a little bit more money to do a little bit more work? He doesn't have to defend every show. He doesn't even have to work. He just have to come out, cut a promo, look like a god, and go from there. So it's possible. We are due a new title. Been about what, 4 or 5 years?
A new title, as in like a facelift,
like a facelift. We are due a facelift for the title. The Universal title has never been over.
No, it's ugly. The blue Universal title.
The blue Universal title, exactly. I personally love the red one, but that's just me. nothing beats the generic black title. I wish they went back to the wing title, but that's the 90s.
Yeah.
We're due a facelift. So do we get a unified title and we finally bury the Universal title, and maybe at like Survivor Series, once they do the shuffle again, the draft, do we get, okay, they split the title or bring back the gold plate? Because people have been screaming for that for years. That was arguably, that title should never have gone away. Like, the WWE title, yes, okay, WWE is supreme. But look what AEW did with their title and basically ripped off the big gold belt, which everyone loves. And I think they just put up yesterday that the belts are available now, and they sold out already. Personal opinion, I would like to see the unification and Roman to work both shows.
So the unification, you would ideally like to see Roman win this.
Yes.
Interesting. I thought you would have gone Seth Rollins.
No, I want to go Rollins, but I think storytelling wise, you could build feuds on both sides, especially going into Survivor Series. So not SummerSlam, work it for 5-6 months. Yeah. And get into Survivor Series, right?
Yeah, but that's you making the assumption that they give a shit about Survivor Series, and the last 10 years says completely the opposite, that Survivor Series is basically just another monthly pay-per-view. It's not a big four. Money in the Bank has taken that. We've already discussed that before.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it. Like I was saying, in terms of storytelling, I think that there's a lot that could be told, right? We basically already got it with Becky 2 belts. And there was some good stuff that came out of that, right?
Very good stuff.
Yeah, with when it comes to the men's titles, it's just I would like to see it, but the financial ramifications and the whining and the boo-hooing from these giant networks, like I just don't think that it's going to happen. If it does happen, I'm with you. I'd rather it be Reigns than anyone else. And then it comes. The question then needs to be raised. Roman Reigns would be so far elevated, not just above everyone in WWE, but above everyone in the entire professional wrestling sphere. There is no one in AEW who would even come close to him. There's no one in AEW that comes close to him right now in terms of status. If WWE were to put him this far over, how do you bring him down? Like, when would he lose? What would make Brock Lesnar beating him? Like,
I don't think so.
What would even make sense in terms of like a realistic challenger to somebody who is at that point above God mode, holding the two biggest titles in the company without anyone even really coming close to beating him?
That's not how they work that. It wouldn't have to be someone on his level. It would have to be the destruction of the bloodline. That's the only way Roman loses his title.
Yeah, and that's what I mean by potentially really good storylines available out there with this.
Like you have the likes of KO getting into the Usos' head, or teaming up alongside, say, a tag team or something like that.
Or The Rock coming in and claiming head of the table.
But The Rock's not going to wrestle for 6 months.
Not for 6 months, but he could do a long build to a WrestleMania a la John Cena, making small appearances here and there like he did in that build. Again, that's pie in the sky, but a homie can dream.
Are you saying that Roman holds the title till LA?
Why not?
You know we're going to Mania in LA if that happens, right?
Why not? Roman Reigns is so good. He's so over. He is just the best thing going right now. Would it be crazy that this man holds the title for 1,500 days? Can
I ask you something?
What?
Would you ever have thought when we worked together, those words would ever have come out your mouth?
Hell no. Hell
Good.
to the no. But I'm not a man that holds his pride near and dear to him when it comes to professional wrestling thoughts and opinions. I'm happy to change my views, and I'm proud to say that like the work that Roman Reigns is putting is some of the most fascinating, most interesting character work that I've seen since I've started watching professional wrestling.
Yep. I cannot think of anything up to maybe Austin Rock 1 or Austin Rock 2. Austin Rock 3, the build was not amazing. The vignettes were great, but it wasn't a great build. Austin Rock 1 and Austin Rock 2, I cannot think of anyone, because they were both like this, but they were up here. They were so elevated, both of them. And if you think of the roster back then,
it was wild.
Triple H, Shawn, Taker, Kane.
But we don't have anybody on the level that Roman is right now.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, you could put Roman at Austin Rock level, and we don't even have the fan support that they had back then.
It's true.
It's cut down to a third at least, and still everyone in every wrestling promotion is talking about Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
You watch any podcast, you listen to the Bully Ray podcast, you listen to Ric Flair, you listen to all of those. At least once, everybody is talking about Roman Reigns right now, and he deserves it. For all the shit he took for 5-7 years, this man deserves, I hate to say it, to be acknowledged.
Yeah.
And simple as that.
Yeah.
That's where I end it.
Yeah, the guy took it in the chin for a really long time. All right,
Yep.
like the face that just was being shoved down everyone's throats, and it just didn't take off like Cena. Cena was shoved down everyone's throats, and it worked. People swallowed it, and people were not willing to swallow Roman Reigns. But, I mean, the man persisted, WWE persevered, and they audibled, and they made it the right changes to where we were finally willing to take a spoonful of Roman Reigns and down that bad boy, because I will take a bowl of Roman Reigns right now. I wish he was on Monday Night Raw, because that show is incredibly boring these days.
Yeah, I will drink an entire 6-pack of whatever Roman Reigns is selling right now, because that is good quality content, and I'm completely over on it.
Yeah, almost as good as the Straight Shoot TikTok. But let's transition. Let's talk. You know, before we talk about AEW, I want to talk about something just kind of weird. It just sometimes WWE is a little bit cultish, Steve, where they've got these weird caveats that you're like, why? So we had a report come out of the words that WWE commentators were not allowed to say when Mickie James was in the ring during the Royal Rumble. And they're so weird, man. I get weird cult vibes. So let me lay this out for maybe the people who aren't caught up with this. We had Mickie James, current knockout women's world champion, Impact Knockout World Champion, I think is the official name of the title. I might be a little bit off. WWE had some issues with the words Impact Wrestling is one of them, because we don't say wrestling is literally the verbatim quote for quote. We don't say wrestling. Mm-hmm. The next one, Steve, is that they weren't willing to use the word knockouts to refer to the women's division in Impact, which is why Pat McAfee called it the Impact Women's Championship. Notice how they also removed the word World Championship.
Yeah.
Almost as if to belittle or diminish the meaning of the title that Mickie James is holding. And it's just so weird. Like, why? Does this add to the product? Does this add value to the fans or anybody watching? It's so bizarre.
This is a Vince play through and through. I cannot remember for the life of me the podcast I was listening to, but one of the release superstars recently released had said, and somebody in the comments, please let me know, because you've probably seen this as well. They said they get a list when they sign their contract of terms when doing a promo that they cannot use. And it's on the internet somewhere. I would love to find it. But there's like, you can't say Vince's name. You can't say Vince McMahon in a promo. Or in the Hall of Fame speech. You can't say pro wrestling. This is Vince all day long. So I'm not surprised hearing that they weren't allowed to refer to these things. And the other one we were talking about off air, you couldn't say forbidden door.
Forbidden door, yeah. And that's not even a term that other wrestling promotions really were using. That was fans.
Yeah,
that was fans.
Like, why? This is what we know. We know what kayfabe means. We know what the fourth wall is. We know what the fucking brass ring is. Like, why can we not get forbidden door? Come on, Vince.
I thought that was a funny topic because, like, when I read this, I'm like, man, this is, again, I want to keep using the word cult. Yeah, like just keeping your subjects in line with your greater goal or your greater vision, which like is just so dumb. It's so dumb. Everyone was so excited for Mickey. Do you really think that anyone would register if Pat McAfee said the word wrestling? No one cares. No one cares. You think little Jimmy is going to hear, whoa, they said wrestling? Is this violence? Do I have to kill my entire family now? It's like, do you really think that this is going to turn people into some sort of rabid, violent individuals? Like, it's so dumb.
It almost makes you wonder if Vince still thinks he's in 1999 and he's still the higher power.
Right? It almost feels like the steroid trial just gave this man perpetual PTSD in terms of like walking a fine line to ensure that he's never in front of a grand jury ever again.
Well, just remember, guys, this is not pro wrestling. This is sports entertainment.
Yeah.
Shut up, Vince.
I mean, he's gonna get to the point where like he's gonna get to the point where it's like, we can't say sports. Sports indicates that this is a competition, and competition, is aggressive, and we're not an aggressive product because we want to sell ourselves to Disney.
Yeah. All right. I'm done with talking about how bad WWE is. Can we talk about how friggin' good AEW Dynamite was tonight?
I'm not even an AEW mark. I'm really not. I appreciate the product when it's good, and I still believe that WWE is better. But holy hell, tonight was wild in terms of the debuts, the matches that we had.
Okay, so all right, I'm going to start with one that we've seen coming. Like, I watch AEW a little bit more than you do. One that we kind of saw coming over the last month or so, the breakup pretty much of the Inner Circle. So Santana and Ortiz have kind of said, you know what, Jericho, we're done with you. And they set it up for a Jake Hager, Jericho versus Santana and Ortiz match coming up later next week, I believe.
Sorry, are you referring to Chris Jericho, the Ayatollah of Rock and Rolla? Is this the Le Champion, or is this the Influencer?
Did he change his name to the Influencer?
So he just recently filed a trademark to trademark the name the Influencer in professional wrestling.
So now he's on TikTok like us.
Hey, if he wants to join and be a part of an episode of Straight Shoot, a wrestling podcast, or an episode of the TikTok, hey, hit us up, Jericho. You can pay us to be on it if you like.
Everybody tag him in the comments. Okay. Okay. So yeah, Jesus Christ, you just threw me off.
The Influencer.
The Influencer of Chris Jericho. So we're gonna get that match. It's gonna be basically a street fight, pretty much the way they're running like the aces and eights over there.
Do you think because they've been doing it almost like yearly, where they do the matches in the Jag Stadium?
That would be brilliant. I
Yeah.
would love that because that's kind of where the inner circle really
Yeah.
got together. Remember that final stand of all 5 of them with the inner circle on
Yep.
this. That was a great image. And go ahead.
Let me let you mark out as a English Premier League fan. What if they do this at Fulham Stadium instead of the Jag Stadium? That'd be pretty cool, right?
I just got goosebumps thinking of that.
That'd be pretty cool.
I might have to fly over to England just for that pay-per-view. All right, so we got that one coming. We had a great night of debuts.
Are you Steve? Come on, a great dude. That was fucking fantastic.
Yeah. I'm gonna leave the one that you're most excited about. I'm actually 50-50 on this. I absolutely am so over on Jay White. His work in New Japan, when he went over to ROH, I genuinely think this guy has like a Seth Rollins vibe for me. Like, but he's a grimier version of Seth Rollins. It's like the Walmart version of Seth Rollins, but like at a premium price.
Sure. Yeah, he's behind the locked cabinets. You have to ask for an employee to get him.
He's right next to the PS5s that are never in stock.
Yeah. Along with the men's razors.
Yeah. So I love this whole segment. The Young Bucks kind of really confused at what they're looking at. Adam Cole with this big grin on his face. Let's just all like stop looking at speculation. We're going into the Elite versus Bullet Club. There is the only one way of writing this. Adam Cole with his new shtick about how he's just going to change AEW for himself. I love this. This is fantastic. Santi, how would you feel about the Bullet Club being brought to North America finally?
This can't happen until Double or Nothing, which is what many people consider to be AEW's WrestleMania.
Yeah.
This would be too soon. This needs to be built up until the summer and give us the blow off at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, or if they really think that they can fill it, the Las Vegas Raiders Stadium, which I think that might be kind of overthinking it, overselling AEW, but who knows? Let's keep it to the MGM Grand. This needs to be in front of the most amount of people, where the most amount of people are watching around the world. This needs to be at AEW Double or Nothing.
Yeah. And I just think one of the most sold indie shirts are going to take over the crowd. You are going to have Bullet Club in every form sitting in that crowd and people marking out for this, because honestly, this is something with the characters that they have the cream of the crop that are not in WWE, except for Okada.
Yeah.
And God, imagine Okada showing up for the... Okay, let's stop dreaming.
Yeah. I mean, like, if Okada does somehow make a grand entrance, we all know what we'd be getting. We'd be getting Okada, Kenny Omega. Yeah, he wouldn't be part of a tag team match. We would be getting, and if they put them in put them in a tag team match, that's a terrible mistake.
Yeah,
you know.
No.
Yeah, so I'm on board with it. I would like to see it develop again, and I just want it to be on the biggest stage possible.
And I think the one more thing to add to that, I think this is where AEW, and I've mentioned this before, has always lacked in story. And I really feel in the AEW sense, they could build a good story. And they seem to know how to do it with the factions. They can't do it with the individual wrestlers. But I think we're going to get something special here. And I just really hope they don't WWE it and build us to ruin it. So...
yeah, we'll see. All right, what else happened in AEW? I think there was another debut.
Just a small one.
Yeah, it is the most likable man in professional wrestling. I might just go ahead and toss that out there.
Yeah. 100%.
And may we all bask in his glory. The recently married Keithel Lee. I don't actually know if Keith is short form for Keithel, but I wanted to say that. Keith Lee. Keith Lee debuting in AEW and a pretty fun match, actually.
I've never seen a wrestler get yeeted that high in my life.
That was actually really fun. What a win for AEW. Keith Lee is.
Huge.
Talk about another man's trash is another man's treasure. How did WWE screw up Keith Lee? It's so easy.
Just to really reference your comment there, it's the pop he received when Lesnar is standing by himself in the Rumble and Keith Lee walks out and the crowd knows this is the man next to Drew who can take Lesnar one-on-one at his hype, at his stature. When they stood face to face, I'm almost certain Keith Lee was bigger, maybe not pound for pound stronger, but the man is bigger than Lesnar, and you let him go? WWE. What the... Yeah.
No, I feel you. I've never understood how you can screw up such a charismatic, super mega athletic, and just giant presence, who, by the way, was over as hell.
Yeah.
Like, it was literally handed on a silver platter for them.
Yeah.
It's like they wanted him to fail. Yep. Maybe because he's not pure WWE product or something like that. Which, you know, I say it as a joke, but we've seen it before where they just buried all of the WCW guys. Bubba Ray Dudley was not allowed to be the singles wrestler force that he was in Impact. And he was, you know, shoehorned back into the Dudleys. I think with the exception of perhaps AJ Styles, WWE has had a real tough problem of just swallowing their pride and letting these guys that built their name and their craft outside of WWE really shine on the main roster. Triple H didn't care about that stuff. He is highlighting these guys like crazy. Adam Cole... I'm sure everybody knows what they wanted to do with Adam Cole was make him shave his head and be a manager in the main roster. That almost sounds like they're punishing this guy for having spent time in other promotions. It's silly. It almost feels bitter. It's just bad business. So AEW got themselves a giant W, a guy that, like I said, is such a giant presence physically and charismatically, who is going to sell a lot of shirts, who is going to sell you tickets. It was a no-brainer for AEW. You know what, Steve, if anything, I am surprised that Tony Khan didn't pull out his check and buy out his 90-day clause.
You know what? I would have hated that. Because it would have been just like, okay, Keith Lee got released. We know he's going to AEW. We knew this was coming, but it's kind of like Wyndham with like Bray Wyatt. The vignettes that we don't know if it's him, and we'll get into this in a second, but the vignettes that have been released, we know he's going somewhere soon. But like the Keith Lee swerve, especially what he did by releasing his wedding photos and saying he's not even anywhere near, and you know what? Credit to WWE fans or wrestling fans, sorry, saying, well, Mia Yim's hair was black at the wedding photos and she streamed last night on Twitch and it was blue. It's like, you know, so...
Oh, man.
So there was a huge swerve there, and I really like how he worked with it. The pop was excellent. The match was entertaining as all hell. And I'm just happy. I'm happy Keith Lee found a home, and he truly deserves it. Simple as that.
Yeah.
There's really nothing else on that.
I do have a question for you regarding this.
Yeah.
Does Rampage need to be 2 hours now? With just how much star power AEW is adding to their roster?
Yes. Yes, I think so. But I really think there is a big issue with the stamina in the wrestlers, especially the mid card. And I'll reference this. The what's her name? The
Jade
TBS
Cargill.
champ, Jade Cargill match. After about 12 minutes, you could really see her as the TBS champion fade. There was a spot where there was a moonsault done, or a shooting star press done onto her. She sold too long. The girl got up onto the rope again to do another one, and you could really see her like egging her to get up. And I think this is the second time I've shot on Jade in like a couple of podcasts, but it's just, you're seeing that across the board in the mid card. So if they're gonna lengthen it to 2 hours, there needs to be better performances on the matches that really don't matter.
Sure.
That's my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, that's a bit of a different approach that I was taking. That makes sense. I'm more concerned about TV time to the people that need TV time.
Yeah.
And you can't only give TV time, Steve, to the people that have been signed by WWE, because at that point you're basically admitting that we are just making our brand off of the trash that WWE wanted to get rid of. And I say trash just in the eyes of WWE, not in general. God, I would never call Keith Lee trash. So you need to spotlight the women's. You need to spotlight that TBS division that, for the most part, is, with the exception of Cody, nowadays is mostly seems to be tied to developing the more AEW centric talent like Sammy Guevara, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm concerned about TV time. TV time. Like, there's still rumors of more, right? There's still rumors of Killer Cross, aka Karrion Kross. There's still rumors of Bray Wyatt. There's going to, and you think about they still have Daniel Bryan. They still have Mox, Punk,
FTR.
There's so much there. And I feel that there's already a problem with a lot of this very well-known talent losing a lot of TV time. But again, you need to balance it properly, because you need to give TV time to those Sammy Guevaras, to those Orange Cassidys, in order to build the AEW brand rather than the home of ex-WWE guys.
Yeah, exactly. And you're 100% right. And it's almost like I think it might go down to creative, the people in the back, the producers. Sammy Guevara needs to be by himself. I'm sorry, Sammy Guevara in my mind is on a Hangman Page level. That man could be going for the world title.
You got to highlight those people, right?
You have to. Orange Cassidy, I'm not that over on, but I see his talent.
People are over on him. What about like super fresh talent? What about like a Hook?
Hook, who is Hook gets a crazy pop, and the kid says nothing. Comes out, beats the shit out of someone, walks out, goes to strip clubs. That's it.
And we need to. I say we. WWE. Oh my God.
No,
AEW needs to highlight that. Yep. You know, the MJFs, Guevaras, Britt Bakers, and Hooks of the world. Those are the ones that are going to be in your company still in 10 years.
Yeah.
Right? Gotta remember, a lot of these big WWE guys that are coming over, they've already made the big fat money.
Yeah.
Right? Like, do they need to do this for a long time? They don't. So AEW needs to continue to highlight those dudes and girls, while taking advantage of all of this massive amounts of talent that they're bringing in. It's going to be a bit of a tricky balance when all you have is 3 hours throughout the entire week compared to WWE's like 7. It feels like, at least.
Yeah. Because I can't stand Raw for 3 hours.
Oh, it's
hard.
Yeah, but like, they shouldn't be 3 hours because they don't have talent worth showcasing right now, and the shit that they do give us is already bad.
Especially on Raw. SmackDown is 2 hours and it's filled with great content.
Yeah. Well, Raw, more often than not, has 1 or 2 particular talents doing more than one match because they can't fill the 3 hours. I'm pretty sure the last couple weeks we've had Riddle in like 3 segments on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
You go back to the Attitude Era or early 2002s. If you were on Raw, that was hot shit.
Yeah. Fucking Austin comes out for 15 seconds, drinks 2 beers, stuns someone, and he gets paid, what, 20 grand a night? And then they still had enough guys to carry the rest of the show.
Absolutely. Yeah. You didn't have these super long drawn out segments then. And I definitely don't want AEW to start with long drawn out segments for people, but they have enough of a talent where they can go bang, 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 a la early 2000s WWE, Attitude Era WWE, where like you needed to be there for when the commercials were done, because you weren't going to get the continuation of this lame best 2 out of 3 falls match that Raw loves to do. You're going to get the next best segment. Okay, this segment before was Austin. Maybe after commercials, it's Mankind. Maybe after commercials, it's The Rock, right? WWE Raw doesn't have that. AEW, more, I say, is on its way to being something like that. I just think they need more TV time now.
Yeah, and the one thing that WWE is missing a lot of is those amazing backstage segments that we got in the, even up until the 2010s. Like, we had some great backstage segments. Even, I think the last thing that we saw that was really good as a backstage segment was the Bayley-Sasha rivalry.
Yeah, you know what we're getting a lot of these days, Steve? They're foregoing those great backstage segments, which, to be fair, we've had a couple recently with Riddle in the scooter race. I like that. I'm guilty of liking that.
I hated that, but whatever, yeah.
But they are foregoing that for pre-recorded segments.
Yeah.
Like the Firefly Funhouse stuff, like the therapy sessions with
Hold on,
Alexa Bliss.
Are you saying, I don't mean to cut you off, but are you saying that the Firefly Funhouse segments and the therapy sessions for Alexa was bad?
No, I love those.
Okay.
I love those. And I love the pre-recorded back segments. Like, one of my favorites of all time, no, I guess The Rock and Hurricane were more kind of closer to backstage, but it was never like the mic in the hand. They always did it in the locker room, clearly, like, I think it was pre-recorded. I don't think those segments were live, but the Team Hell No stuff with the therapy between Daniel Bryan and Kane, right? Yeah. But I love the pre-recorded segments. I really do. There's some gold, but like the Veer Mahan is coming stuff is kind of what I'm getting to and I'm alluding to, right? The stuff that just isn't adding value to the product. There's been a lot more of that.
Yeah, no, I agree, and it's kind of funny because it's weird that we can probably segue with this. We talked about backstage segments, the way they kicked off the Lance Archer Hangman.
Oh, we haven't even talked about that.
Yeah, we haven't even. Oh, there's 2 more matches that we haven't talked about tonight, and one's obviously clearly better than the other. But we'll go into the Lance Archer Hangman match for the title. Archer's music hits. There's no Archer. Hangman's jumped him outside Gorilla and has beaten the crap out of him, which is a Lance Archer move. Right? So Archer's normally the one that beats someone up, drags him to the ring, finishes him, and pins him, right? And by the time they got to the ring, Archer's already busted open for going through the glass. Like, WWE, get your pen and paper, lick it so you can actually take a note, and get us some entertainment like this, because you're not giving us to us.
Yeah.
You're giving us Veer is on his way for the 19th episode of Raw in a row. Like, god damn, boy. And then again, you look at what they put on a midweek show for a world title match. And Santi, before we came onto the air, like, I was watching it, and then we followed up with watching the clips of it. What a match.
Yeah. Yeah. what just scary spots and cool spots, and the ending was good. Like, in terms of how it led to it, it was a wild roller coaster of emotions, that match.
For free TV, yes, please.
Yeah.
All day long. All day long, Tony Khan, well done.
Yeah, I liked I loved the kind of reverse razor's edge flipped into a front flip on top of the metal stairs that were raised on their side, and the thud that this man took off that steel. He got like 3 feet of air just from the ricochet bounce from the stairs.
That was one of the scariest spots I've seen in years.
So scary.
Honestly, years. I'm like, he's not going to throw him out of the ring. Like, then, first off, steel steps. Like, he does that wrong. He's, like, protruding onto that if he hits the corner. Yeah. Goes too far, he's lacerating his back on the corners of those steps.
Yep.
Like, they had to get that perfect. And the worst part was, like you mentioned, there was only that much for him to do the rotation.
That rotation had to be perfect.
Yeah.
Like, it had to be so fast and so accurate, or that man is breaking something. Yeah. Go back and watch it, guys that are listening, and just take a look at how fast he has to flip over to ensure that he lands on his back and not on his throat.
Yeah, exactly. The other spot in that match, which I thought was hilarious, well placed, well done, utilizing the referee. So they had taken away the top rope, so the buckshot lariat couldn't come in. So Hangman goes over the second rope, does a buckshot flip over springboards his hands and flips over the referee and does the lariat outside the ring in through the table.
Insane. Just like insane.
This is a Hell in a Cell match on free TV.
Pretty much.
Loved it. And honestly, Dynamite was exactly that. It was Dynamite.
I love that, I think it was a couple of months ago where in an investor's call, Vince or the other Khan did not acknowledge AEW as a competitor because they are a death match, blood and guts, or they named their one of their pay-per-views Blood and Guts because of this. Vince just calling them a blood and guts company. Love that they just double down on that from time to time. We don't get it every week, and that's the beauty of it, because they're not always blading every week or every single match. And when it happens, it's a work of art.
Oh, it was fantastic. And like, when was the last time you heard like 20,000+ showing up to a Raw or a SmackDown? And apparently that was the reported number.
That's insane.
In Atlanta, 20,000. Granted, it's not Georgia Dome WCW where Goldberg, won the title. What was it, like 60,000 that night?
Yeah.
For a Nitro, but 20,000+. And I think WWE even struggled for their last pay-per-view for numbers that high. I think they had to close off half the arena.
Yep.
For the Rumble. So from like the fan photos that I saw, but yeah, so final match of the night that I thought was actually interesting. The MJF segment with CM Punk. He was going to come out with Darby Allin or Sting as a tag partner. MJF said, "You can't use these two guys. But if you beat FTR in a match with a tag partner of your choice, good luck finding one. Everyone hates you in the back." And lo and behold, our favorite, delusional, fresh out of rehab, Jon Moxley, Wild Thing comes out, and a couple of good spots in that match, but CM Punk and Moxley go over on FTR, and now CM Punk has an anytime, anywhere match against MJF. Are we looking at is it Full Gear that's next in Chicago? Can't remember the pay-per-view.
The next one is in Chicago though.
Yeah. So are we gonna get MJF CM Punk in Chicago for the third time in a row?
I mean, sure. I'm all for it. It's one of those situations. I like this saying. It's one of those situations where 2 + 2 really does just equal 4. Nothing needs to be overbooked. You don't need to overthink this one. It's right there. Just do that.
Yeah, just do it and have a really good, 25 minute match. Hell, I don't even care if they go into a draw.
What a fun program.
Oh,
What a fun program. It's good and it's fun. The promos are awesome. I love the shot that MJF took at Punk a couple of weeks ago, where he basically made fun of the fact that he never main evented WrestleMania. He's like, you know Roddy Piper. The reason I know that is because, unlike Piper, you've never main evented a WrestleMania.
yeah,
It
that
was
was
so
killer.
good. So good. I love the work that these two are putting together. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Brilliant. It's so good. I guess the final one is we were promised 3 debuts tonight.
We
you
missed
think,
one.
Yeah, do you think we might have got a really big botch the other day at a potential signing?
You think so?
Oh, man, like it was so funny. The questions asked, he looks up with this like grin of I'm not going to tell you, but yeah. And then Scarlett goes, "Oh, is that the thing you're doing in Atlantic City next week?" And the look on his face is like,
yeah, he's just like, holy shit. Holy shit.
Do you think there was a phone call and an apology to Tony Khan and we're going to get Killer Cross at Rampage or next week?
Maybe. Like, I mean, I'm down to wait for Cross.
Yeah.
If a couple more weeks. I was a huge fan of Cross in WWE. I'll be honest, I really didn't see much of his other work. But he was a ton of fun. And I'm assuming, right, that he's going to be with Scarlett. I need that. Don't change it. Again, 2 + 2 = 4. Don't separate them, please. Don't separate them, please. If it happens on Rampage, cool. If it happens next week, cool. If it's next pay-per-view, cool. Honestly, it would have kind of taken away from the other debuts that we had tonight. I think 3, I know you're capable of it, AEW, but sometimes you can give us too much of a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think altogether AEW is doing some great work. WWE really needs to put their big boy pants back on and stop butchering their developmental and what they did to AEW 2.0. I think it was the lowest ratings this week ever for NXT.
Oh, I mean, well, do you think Dolph Ziggler will change that if AJ Styles wasn't able to?
Dolph Ziggler with a beard is a weird thing, first off. Secondly, if Braun Breaker had to struggle to get over on Tommaso, I think we have like a squash match for Ziggler, and if they make it any other way, they need to give Ziggler a push like they did a la Mandy Rose in NXT. And if they do put Ziggler over on Braun, they just buried Braun. There's no win-win for either one of these guys in this storyline.
Yeah. Unless it ends on some shenanigans, disqualification or something, which could probably happen, just sort of knowing them.
What, Robert Roode comes back to NXT?
Dude.
Hold on
I'm down for that. I'm down for that. You're saying it. You said it out loud, and I was like,
I'm
down for that.
But Robert Roode comes out and does the job on Ziggler, where we start a feud in NXT between Ziggler and Roode, and Braun just goes on and finally, please just give us Solo. Like, just give us the Samoan that we want and have a like Rikishi versus, or it was the Wild Samoans versus the Steiner brothers back in the day. Just give us that again, but new blood. Like let the Sons go at it. That would be a great rivalry, and you could do it over many pay-per-views. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Can we just
Yeah, I think we should wrap it up here, but I do want to quickly talk about Santos Escobar. I like this guy.
Yeah.
I like this guy. He's a high flyer and I really heard him on the mic really for the first time last week. Mm-hmm. He was good. He's got that Latino accent, but we know that Vince does not shy away from the Latin American market and will put a title on a Latino. Eddie Guerrero, Alberto Del Rio immediately come to mind, of course. I could see this guy doing really well on the main roster, to the point where they were literally using 2 Latino dudes heavily on television in 2020 during the pandemic who were not great at talking. They were great in the ring, but they really were. I'm talking about Humberto Carrillo and the other dude. I can't even remember his name. Angel Garza. I think that the Latin American void could be filled by somebody like Santos Escobar within the next 3-4 years when he's ready to really be in the main roster.
Yeah, agreed. I just hope they don't ruin him like they did a la, what's his name? Charlotte's hubby there.
Oh yeah, Andrade. You know, that's a good point. They really butchered Andrade. So
and honestly, like Andrade, I was over on Andrade.
Andrade was so good.
I loved the Zelina Vega stuff. Like that was one of those ones, like you've been saying all episode, 2 + 2 = 4. Don't ruin it. Don't ruin it. Like, just let it run. Give him an IC title run for a year. Put him in the main event. Give him a 4 spot in the Rumble. Just give him something that just
let the man work.
Yes, exactly. You know, like they've been doing with Kevin Owens for years, but they give him like the minor glory and then just tear him back down. Yeah. Let these guys do this. And I'm looking forward to seeing what this guy has, really.
Yeah. 2 + 2 = 4. Really does.
All right, Santi, where can the crew find you? I'm taking your line.
All right. Okay. I was about to say it. So you just beat me to it. So you can catch me over on the Straight Shoot TikTok. I do stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/Santi's app. Those are really the only 2 places where I live. Alternatively, if you want to be part of this, the discussion, you can come over to the Discord. We have a Wrestle Chad section there where we do nothing but talk professional wrestling memes and everything that's going on right now. Where can they find you?
Well, I'm heavily active in definitely the comments on the Straight Shoot TikTok. So make sure if you haven't checked us out there, go check us out. And other than that, over on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Mr. Tesh. Other than that, Santi, I think this has been a great episode. I'm glad you liked your title belt, and the road to 1,000 and the road to 200,000, hopefully next week.
We'll see. I love your ambitions, kid. Really reaching for that brass ring. All right, buddy. Take care.
All right, buddy. Take care. See you next week.